After a breakout season last year for the Kentucky Wildcats, Deone Walker could be on pace to be one of the best interior linemen in the SEC this year. And as dominant as he is at 6'6", 350 pounds, there's no way that you would consider a guy like that to have 7.5 sacks and over 30 tackles. He's a guy that should be eating up double teams, but instead is one of the best pass rushers in the SEC and is going to be primed for much more going into 2024. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Lucas Hill here of SEC Unfiltered. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends. Also, make sure you turn on the bell notifications so that you are notified every time we post a new video here at SEC Unfiltered. Make sure you follow us on every social media, Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok at SEC Unfiltered. Also, check out secunfiltered.com for more from the best SEC entity on the internet. Today's video has been brought to you by our good friends over at MyBookie. Go on over to mybookie.ag. Use code SECU at sign up to receive a welcome offer on your first deposit. Looking at some of the betting odds right now. Your best bet for me, especially during the college football season, USC and LSU, the over-under is 62.5. There's no telling what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen with their defense, but my best bet the over. That's thankful for our good friends over at MyBookie. Thank you guys for specially sponsoring this video. Deone Walker is on his way to what should be one of the best seasons that he has had all year in his career. A two-time All-SEC defensive lineman, a guy that was a semifinalist for the Sean Alexander Award as one of the best interior defensive linemen in the SEC. When you turn on the film, you expect a guy that's about 6'6", 350 pounds to do nothing but eat up double teams, rotate in every couple of plays, maybe being a run stopper. Well, that's not the case with Deone Walker. What an unbelievable season this guy had. 28 tackles, 7.5 sacks to go along with about 10.5 TFLs as well. He's had 2 pass deflections as well. And against the Clemson Tigers in the bowl game this past year, you could tell why he's so dominant. The biggest thing for him is his hands and his rush ability. When you get off the ball, he's so quick with his hands and his footwork is fantastic. He pressured that Cade Klubnik about 3 or 4 times other than the 2 sacks that he had. And he put pressure on Clemson's offense time in and time out and did a dang good job of doing it too. He didn't just do it against Clemson. He did it over and over and over again during the season. But there are some flaws that he has as well. He gets high whenever he first comes off the ball. Your pad level needs to at least be center or a bit lower than an opposing offensive lineman. He takes a false step sometimes, and oftentimes will get beat off of his first step. But if he can fine-tune all those things, he has an opportunity to be a once-in-a-generation type of talent. Coming out of high school, this was a guy that was compared to Javon Kinlaw, and you see what he's doing now whenever he was with the South Carolina Gamecocks and currently with the San Francisco 49ers. And you're going to see a guy like that really be utilized a lot. He can play nose. He can play that 3-tech defensive tackle, and you can put him in a head-up 5 against an offensive line tackle, especially in Kentucky's defense where they have 3 down defensive linemen. He can fit in right in with that role. He has an opportunity to be one of the best defensive linemen in all of college football. Now, I only ranked him just inside the top 5, but he has an opportunity to be so much more. He can have a breakout year like what Aaron Donald had. And if you get him an opportunity to showcase his talents in the Senior Bowl, which I'm hoping Jim Nagy will give and extend him an invitation, I'm expecting that to happen. This is a guy that's going to really lead this Kentucky defense to new heights. I mean, this Wildcats team is loaded on defense. Not only do you have a team that is just unbelievable, like Deone Walker on the interior defensive line. I mean, their entire lineup on defense is unbelievable. You know, I mean, there's no question in my mind why they shouldn't be among one of the best in all of the SEC. When you get a guy like Jamon Dumas Johnson from Georgia, a guy that was fantastic, a guy that is a very instinctive defensive player, especially on a national championship winning team. This is a guy that was an All-American 2 years ago and then ended up going to the portal, didn't play much during last year. And when you add him to Mark Stoops' squad on defense, that's just going to elevate them even more. But Deone Walker is going to be the unheralded leader of that defense. He's been there since his freshman year, and he's had many opportunities where he could have had to transfer. He could have put himself into the portal, made a ton of money off of NIL stuff. But he's chosen to remain at Kentucky. He's chosen to remain at a school where he feels like he can be successful, and he's going to do just that. He's a preseason All-American according to Walter Camp. I think he got named that just this last month. You know, when you get him on the line of scrimmage, I mean, there's a lot of goals that he has an opportunity to do. He led the team in tackles for loss, sacks, and quarterback hurries, including 2 pass breakups, including the win over Florida. That ended up leading to a touchdown that was helpful on their win. Was named to the Lot Impact Trophy, Nagurski, and Outland Trophy watch list. And when you look, but the biggest thing for him too is he has to remain consistent. I was listening to Joe DeLone and our good friend from Are You Serious Sports, Blake Ruffino, their podcast together. And the biggest thing is that he has to be consistent. He has to play like that every game. When he plays against top-tier competition like Tennessee, like Alabama, like Georgia, he has to be a consistent force. He can rack up a lot of tackles. There's no question about that. I don't have to worry about something like that. But the thing is, has he learned from what he didn't do this last season? Getting his head down low, getting his shoulder pad width down low. Can he do those little things that can fine-tune his game from him being just a perennial inside threat to now all of a sudden he can potentially compete with the big boys in the SEC and really play like a dominant defensive lineman should play on a consistent basis? He can take over games. In 3 games against 4 ranked teams in Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Louisville, he racked up just over 20 tackles in those 4 games respectively. Excuse me, I'm sorry. About 15 or so. So it just goes to show you what type of guy that guy is. I mean, he can easily beat his man off the line of scrimmage with his first step, but he's got to work on not taking a false step as well. He's got to change up his stance a little bit. He's got to get more inside whenever he gets set up. Because when you take that first step, you're just taking another step that's wasted, and it prevents you from really elevating yourself into a sack, and it just leads to more time for a quarterback to get and have an opportunity to do a lot more. His swim move is electric. He can get into the backfield really fast. I mean, when you watch him play and when you see him read counter, he has that opportunity that most guys they can't do. Most of them can't swim like that and be able to maintain quarterback depth and not get beat on that outside. He does that. This is a guy that wants to be at a 4.6 40 before the end of the season. Now, he will have to trim down a good bit to maybe 310, 320 in order for him to do that. Maybe even drop down a lot more to get at least 300 and maybe do that. But if he can run at least a 4.8, then holy cow, that's a scary prospect that NFL teams are going to be salivating over. And it's a guy that really a lot of GMs are going to want to have on their inside. What else did I miss about Deone Walker? Do you think he's the best interior lineman in the SEC? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, check out more videos from our good friends here at SEC Unfiltered. Make sure you hit the bell notification so that you are notified for every time we post another video. And follow us on every social media at SEC Unfiltered, SECUnfiltered.com. Check out some more articles and insight knowledge from our good friends here. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, see ya.